Magandang gabi mga kaibigan, mga kapatid at mga kababayan. Isa naman pong mahalagang paksa ang ating pag-uusapan ngayong gabi. Ito po ay maikaugnayan sa darating na halalan ngayong May 2022. Exactly po 1 year to go na lamang po yan. Isang taon na lamang po mula ngayon. At sigurado po, given the situation, hindi pa po matatapos ang problema natin sa COVID. Kaya mahalaga po ito na ating pag-usapan nang sa gayon po ay mapaghandaan. Ayon po sa mga balita sa India, kaya daw po dumami ang kanilang COVID infection o yung hawaan ng COVID sa India. Isa po sa kanilang sinisisi ay ang halalan na kamakailan lamang ay ginanap sa India. At yung religious tradition nila ng paliligo sa ilog ng Ganges, kung saan milyon-milyon po ang naligo. At dahil doon po, hindi na nila na-observe yung health protocol para maiwasan yung hawaan ng COVID. Sa India po, ayon sa report, umaabot po ng 300,000 cases a day. Kaya po, ang dami nang namamatay sa India at kahit sa mga parking lots na lamang, kanila na pong krinikrimit ang kanilang mga nasawi ng mga kamag-anak. Yan po ang kalagayan sa India at talagang napakalubha po. Even considering the fact na sila po ay manufacturer of their own COVID vaccine. Ganong pa man po, lumobo ng husto beyond control ang COVID infection sa India. Dito po sa Pilipinas, bagamat sinisika po natin na pigilin, kaya po nag-i-impose tayo ng ECQ and MECQ, Modified Enhanced Community Quarantine. Magkaganon pa man, dahil mayroon pong mga minor violations o yung ilan nating kababayan ay hindi po mapigil sa pagkakaroon ng mga mass gathering o pagiging lax, maluag sa pag-observe sa ating health protocols, dumarami rin po. Nagkakaroon na rin po tayo ng average na 10,000 a day. So, sa darating po na election 1 year to go, at magsisimula po ang campaign period ng sometimes about December or January, sabihin na po natin, up to May. At pagkatapos po ng eleksyon, ng botisyon, hindi pa rin naman po natatapos yan. Meron pang isang buwan na election period. So, sinisigurado po natin na magkakaroon ito o magdudulot ito ng massive COVID infection. Bagamat sinasabi ng COMELEC na ito ay maggagawan ng paraan at ito di umano ang kanilang ginagawa ngayon. Planning and preparation to ensure that health protocols could be observed strictly during the campaign period and especially during the votation. Ngunit, mga kapatid, mga kababayan, kaibigan, alam po naman natin ang kultura ng mga Pinoy. Hindi po tayo ganoon kadisiplinado na handang sumunod sa mga regulasyon na ipinatutupad ng ating pamahalaan. So ano po ang ibig sabihin natin dito? Despite of the well preparation on the part of the COMELEC to ensure these health protocols during the campaign period and the election day, during the election day, sinisigurado po natin na mababiolate itong mga rules na to. In other words, 80 to 90% hindi po ma-observe ito. Therefore, it will cause a massive COVID infections beyond control. Sigurado po tayo dyan. Sa makatwid, atin pong isinusulong yung no election in 2022. No election para masigurado po natin na walang hawaan sa COVID. Ang problema po, sabi nga ni COMELEC Commissioner Jimenez, which is true, that it is constitutionally provided that elections should be held every 6 years as to presidential and every 3 years as to 12 senatorials and the local officials, including congressmen. Therefore, kapag wala pong eleksyon na magaganap, mangangailangan ito ng constitutional amendment. Sapagkat hindi po ito ordinaryong election. This is a presidential election which according to the Constitution, it should be done every 6 years. So much so that if it could not be held for whatever reason, it cannot be set aside simply by Congress passing a law setting aside the presidential election. The same being constitutionally provided. So if it could not be held for whatever reason, there would be a need for constitutional amendment. But for any constitutional amendment to be valid, it has to be approved by the people in a plebiscite for the purpose. Therefore, election can still be had with respect to plebiscite. So there is no way to stop the election this coming May 2022, which is 1 year to go. Definitely po. Ngayon ang sinasabi nila, bakit sa Amerika last November na isagawa yon? Totoo po. Pero kita nyo naman, naging magulo at marami ding naging hawaan ng COVID sa Amerika. buti po ang Amerika, mayamang bansa. Kaya nilang kontrolin. Kung mayroon mang massive infection, definitely, they can put it under control. Pero sa Pilipinas, na wala pong tayong sariling COVID manufacturing, tayo po ay nakikiusap lamang sa iba't ibang bansa. Kung ano lang ang pwede nilang ibigay sa atin, yun lang po ang ating available vaccine. Delikado po. It is very, very risky to take the chance. Definitely, it will be costly for us to take the risk just for us to continue or to go on with the scheduled election this coming May 2022. Yan po ang ating gagawin. Kung gusto nating mapigil ang halalan sa May 2022. Mga kaibigan, mga kababayan, mga kapatid, ito po ang ating isinusulong for the President to declare a revolutionary government bago po mag-2022. Bakit po? Sapagkat pag idineklara po ng Pangulo ang revolutionary government, definitely there can be no election. Why? Because the President will be the only one to decide whether an election should be held or not. But of course, definitely it will not be held. The same being the primary purpose why revolutionary government is declared, to make possible that election cannot be held this coming May 2022. I repeat, the election can only be stopped, or it can only be held in abeyance if and only if President Rodrigo Duterte will proclaim a revolutionary government. Why? Because under a revolutionary government, the 1987 Constitution will be automatically rendered ineffective. Mawawalan po ng bisa. Sa makatwid, wala ng batas na nag-uuobliga para ganapin ang eleksyon next year. Ano naman po ang negative? O ang tanong po natin una dito, bakit hindi martial law? Bakit revolutionary government? Because martial law can only be proclaimed when there is rebellion or invasion and public safety requires it. Wala namang rebellion sapagkat yung mga ginagawa ng NPA kontrolado pa naman. In fact, pahina na nga sila with the NTF-ELCAC fighting against them. Ito namang situation sa West Philippine Sea at the moment cannot be considered an invasion sufficient for the President to proclaim a martial law. So, public safety, in other words, does not require for the proclamation. So legally speaking, wala pong ground. There is no ground for the President to proclaim martial law. Besides, assuming there is, under the Constitution, the martial law proclamation made by the President can be set aside by Congress in a joint session voting separately or rather voting jointly. So, napakadali po sa Kongreso para pawalang bisa ang martial law na iprinoklama ng ating Pangulo. At such setting aside by Congress of the proclamation made by the President must be respected. It cannot be taken for granted. Actually, that would be the final decision. Congress is the final arbiter whether indeed a martial law can be proclaimed or not. At alam po naman natin ang Kongreso, lalo na po ang mga senador, ay negatibo po. Lumalabas po sila. The majority of them are critics, are against the President. Katunayan, ito po ang tumatayong kaaway ng ating pamahalaan sa ngayon, itong mga senador na ito. So, baliwala po kung martial law ang iproproklama. Samantalang kung revolutionary government, wala pong magagawa ang Kongreso. Automatically, Congress will be dissolved. Congress will be dissolved with the revolutionary government. Ano pa po ang negative? O what could be the negative with the revolutionary government? Negative po yan kung ang military o kung ang presidente ay walang suporta ng military at ng sambayanan. Bakit po? Sapagkat kapag ang Pangulo nagproklama ng revolutionary government na hindi siya suportado ng military, ang military po ang magiging superior. Pwede niyang ipakulong ang Pangulo, lalo na kung ito ay walang suporta ng sambayanan. Katulad po ng nangyari sa Myanmar. Sa Myanmar, may suporta ng sambayanan ang kanilang Pangulo. Kaya nga nagrarally-rally sila. Marami nang napapatay. Sapagkat lumalaban ang mga mamamayan in support of their president. Ngunit ang presidente nila ipinakulong ng military simply because the military does not support their president. Dito sa Pilipinas, may suporta ba ang ating Pangulo ng mga military? Although last week may lumabas na rumors na di umano, wala nang suporta ang Pangulo mula sa military. Kaya magkakaroon ng kudita yung mga retired at saka active generals. Pero yun po ay fake news. The fact of the matter is that, and of course we believe it with all honesty, na ang military has the full support o the president has the full support of the military. Bakit po nasabi natin yan? Sapagkat alam po natin na alam ng military that the president is performing well. He is doing his job well. And the military is loyal to the Constitution, supporting the president who is a good president, a president who is performing his job well in order to promote the general welfare. Katulad po ng suporta na ibinibigay sa kanya ng sambayanan. So mayroon pong suporta ang ating Pangulo mula sa military. Ngayon, magkakagulo ba? Katulad sa Myanmar, hindi po. Bakit? Sapagkat the president has also the majority support or has also the support of the majority of the people. Sa makatwid, wala pong magrarally-rally para kontrahin ang revolutionary government na iprinoklama ng Pangulo. Well, of course, admittedly, mayroon yan iilan. Yung mga ayaw sa Pangulo, yung mga sympathizers ng CPP, NP, ND, magagalit po yan. Pero kakaunti lang po yan. They are very, very few. Maingay lang yan. Kaya lang yan, nakakaungos sila kasi sinusuportahan ng mga senador. Pero hindi po yan sapat para matulad ang Pilipinas sa Myanmar. Malayong-malayo po. In other words, there is no danger of the Philippines being thrown into chaos once a revolutionary government is proclaimed. At ano po yung kagandahan? What could we gain out of it? Una po, magkakaroon tayo ng pagkakataon na magkapagsulat ng bagong saligang batas na kung saan wala na pong Senado. I-abolish na po yan. Because the Senate, as we have said, is the vestige of the oligarchic society. That is the reason why we have not achieved progress and development in this country. Yan pong mga senador na yan. Wala naman pong kwintang opisina yan. Iyan ay nanggugulo sa kanila nanggagaling yung mga opposition to the president. Napakagastos po. We spend a lot. Ano ba yung trabaho niyan? Duplication lamang po ng lower house. So much so that if we will establish a parliamentary type of government, we will only have a parliament as unicameral legislature. Katumbas po ng lower house ngayon. Pag naipasa po nila ang batas, automatic pasado na yan. It will not be repeated in the other house, the Senate in our case now. Pag hindi naprobahan ng Senado, baliwala yung nagawa ng lower house. But in a parliamentary type, once it is approved by the parliament, carried na po, mabilis. As to legislation, mabilis po yung makapagpasa ng batas. Another thing is, we could achieve the highly cooperation between the executive and the legislature. There will be a harmonious relationship between the two departments, which is necessary for us to be able to achieve a genuine and lasting progress and development. Bakit po? Sapagkat the executive department under the parliamentary type of government is elected by the parliament from among themselves. So ano po ibig sabihin nun? Ang magiging prime minister, the prime minister is the head of the executive department with the sole function of executing the laws. Katulad ng presidente po. The prime minister can be replaced by the parliament anytime. So ano po ang implication niyan? Ang una pong implication niyan, the parliament could choose the best among themselves to become a prime minister. The best person out of more than 300 members of the parliament will definitely be elected as prime minister. Kasi hindi naman sila pipili ng hindi pinakamagaling sa kanila. So, we could have a very qualitative chief executive and the person of the prime minister. Secondly, the elected prime minister and the parliament will closely work together. The parliament passing a law, that law to be executed by the prime minister. Mag-aaway sila? Definitely not. Because the prime minister is subordinated to the parliament. Why? Kapag sa tingin ng parliament, hindi naging maayos ang pagpapatupad sa mga batas ng prime minister, anytime pwede po siyang palitan. Just by electing another or a new prime minister, automatically, the predecessor lost his office, balik siya sa parliament. So, itong bangayan ng Senado at ng Pangulo, mula pa noong panahon ni Quezon, under the 1935 Constitution, masyadong naging peak during Marcos' time with Benigno Aquino as a senator, the leader of the opposition. Wala na pong ginawa si Ninoy kundi kumbinsihin ang sambayan ng Pilipino na kalabanin si Marcos at nagtagumpay naman siya. Naging masyadong magulo. Kasama po tayo doon sa naniwala kay Ninoy. So Marcos, to save the republic according to him, and to form a new society, proclaim martial law. Nagkaroon po tayo ng martial law. Pero ang tao, galit sa martial law dahil patuloy na nabulan ni Ninoy. Pumutok po ang EDSA Revolution with a revolutionary government. Sa paniniwala po natin, Cory could bring this country to pedestal. Isa po tayo sa naniwala. Pero ang pinagsilbihan po ni Cory, ang oligarkiya, sapagkat sila po ay mga membro at kinatawan ng oligarkiya. So what happened? Lalo silang nagpayaman, yumaman sila at ang masa naman ay lalong nagdurusa. Dumating po si Pangulong Duterte. Maganda po yung kanyang ginagawa for the people. Ito na naman, mauulit yung ginawa ni Ninoy Aquino, sa katauhan ni Lacson, ni Drilon, ni Pangilinan, lahat po ng opposition. So, kung kanila pong inuulit yung ating karanasan kay Marcos, na gusto nilang patalsikin si Marcos at ngayon gusto nilang patalsikin si Duterte, it is very timely for Duterte to proclaim a revolutionary government with a noble purpose of avoiding massive infection of COVID-19 pandemic due to incoming election na hindi po maiwasan kung itutuloy natin ang eleksyon katulad po na nangyari sa India. On the while, good night po. Maraming salamat. And as a token of support, we invite everyone to subscribe our YouTube channel, ang ating paninindigan sa napapanahong isyu ng lipunan. Again,